day, everyone. I'm Matt Harrison, and you are listening to the Geary Cast, the Malaga fan podcast for all the Gearys out there. It's time for Malaga to get over that last-minute heartbreak from the previous match day and look ahead to this coming jornada. This coming weekend, Malaga take on Burgos Club de Football at their El Plantío home. Can Malaga get over their 5 games without a win in the land of Gothic cathedrals, El Cid, and of course, Murcia? And speaking of Murcia, I'm joined by a man who I'm sure has had his fair share of black pudding in the many fine Geary cafes of Torremolinos. It's Luke Chambers. How are you, Luke?
I'm very well, Matt. When you asked me about Murcia before the pod, I did not expect it to be black pudding, I will admit. How are you?
I'm very good. And also that wasn't like, a fatty joke or anything like that. Do you like black pudding?
I must say that I'm not a fan of black pudding though. Coming from Yorkshire as well, many people are, but myself, not a black pudding fan.
Okay, should we record the intro again for the 3rd time since I've got that wrong as well?
We'll keep this one. We'll carry on. We'll make do.
And actually, it is that sort of, I think it translates in Spanish as blood sausage and all that. But I did find some vegetarian morcilla in Burgos when I visited there. So it was very good. So I did get to feel, I suppose I did the fake sort of Burgos morcilla experience. But yes, more on Burgos coming up in this podcast as, of course, we preview that coming game. But we'll stick in Malaga for now. And some other people who will be sticking around Malaga in how long? How long are we? 6 years' time is FIFA, which I was just realized is, I don't know if that's a good thing if I want FIFA hanging around, especially after the Saudi Arabia news this week. But FIFA will be here, as will many other people, because it is official, Luke Chambers. The World Cup is coming to Malaga unless something disastrous happens before. Are you excited?
No, I'm not. But that's coming from a Malaga fan living abroad, obviously. I think I tweeted out yesterday, I understand for the city, it's going to be great. But for us as probably for yourself, Matt, like obviously you're living out there. But for me as a foreign fan and so on, it's just going to hurt the club for a few years coming. Obviously, we don't know where we're going to be playing. You take any club away from the home, form could dip, and we know his finances. I don't know how much is going to come out of Malaga's kitty kind of thing from the ticket sales and things like that. But a couple of nervy seasons ahead, I think.
Yes, perhaps by 2030, I'll be living in a different part of Spain, and I can follow some, 6th division team instead, and just live an easy life and sort of just enjoy the World Cup atmosphere. But I agree. Actually, I am sort of split down the middle of it. I'll be happy to still be living in the region at the time. I definitely want to be in Spain. I don't want to go back to Brexit land, but I'll be happy to still be here. But yes, from a Malaga fan perspective, especially from La Rosaleda, which we all love, and I would be quite happy if they said we're going to renovate it and we could just click our fingers and it's done. I could sort of accept that, but yeah, we could be away from there for quite a while, and like you said, that will hurt the club financially, but emotionally as well. Like obviously, there's a buzz around the club at the moment, and I was sort of my friend Sean visited this weekend, and when we were going into the city on the bus, I pointed at the athletic stadium and saying, that's where Malaga's going to be at the moment. And, it doesn't feel very Malaga at all when on the outside of it, I don't know if you saw it, is the big Gracias Rafa and a big Rafa tribute, which,
you could see it from the runway when I was taking off on Monday, Sunday, whenever it was. But like you were just saying then, Matt, regarding La Rosaleda, it's one of the great reasons for flying over and watching Malaga. Just, it's something you don't get in British football and so on. Roofless stands with the sun beaming on you. I mean, like you and Nick were speaking about the other day, me and Nick and the gang were pretty much at the top of 538. And the views with the mountains in the background, the sun coming down and everything. And then you've just got to think in a couple of years' time, there's going to be a big roof on top of that. We just the usual modern day bowl, I imagine, and it's what Spanish football is all about. I think just being out in the open and enjoying the day as a whole.
Yeah, like I think I've said many times on this podcast, the positive I take from it is obviously it's going to be sparkling and gleaming, but also I think most of the time they do make good modern stadiums in Spain. I hope we're not one of the ones that falls by the wayside and we become, I don't know, the Spanish version of the, I don't know, the Majesty Stadium. I don't want to be El Majesty.
Well, one of the tweets what I saw from a Malaga fan, and you do wish that because it's a World Cup, it's going to be a little bit more than this. But when you think about it, it's 6 years of building, preparation, planning, and then if you effectively get 2 games, whether that be I don't know the teams who's going to qualify. Could have Ghana versus Slovenia.
I'd be there.
Yeah, I know you would. But you know what I mean? You could get a really low key kind of game, and then all the mishaps for say the Malaga fans over the years is down for these two little games. Because I mean, I don't know if you saw, but it's not just Portugal, Morocco, and Spain what's got it. Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, they've got a game as well. Yeah, I mean, I imagine by 2030, the World Cup's going to be expanded to about 315 teams or something like that.
Yeah, it's I don't think it is just that. Or you're saying it's just 2 games. I think a modern stadium will bring a whole different sort of buzz around the city, and you know, jobs, infrastructure, things like that. So I do think its legacy. You know, maybe I'm being naive here, but I think the legacy will continue past, you know, if there was 2 games of Ghana and Slovenia, and who knows, by the time the World Cup's expanded, we could have Gibraltar playing over the border.
There's a Joe Fate with a raised smile on his face right now, I believe.
But yeah, we'll follow the story of the stadium development or the stadium redevelopment, I guess. And
could that be a bit of a dream for yourself, Matt? Seeing Wales in La Rosaleda, would that be weird or?
God, I hadn't even
dreamy.
That. Yeah, absolutely. I think I'd struggle to get a ticket, but I'd sure have to find a way. Sure, some of my Welsh friends.
Yeah, you've got the links.
Come on, get this lad in there. That would be. Oh my God, I can't wait. No, I'm buzzing. I can't wait for Wales v Oman in La Rosaleda. Anyway, let's go. Oh man, there's some players running their contracts out at the moment. We talked about Antonito the other day, and I don't know, do you want to quickly give your views on Antonito? I think me and Nick both feel it's going to happen. He's going to go in January. Are you very much on that boat now?
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I'm a huge Antonito fan, and again, like we've said before, Matt, no matter what happens, he gave us one of probably the best footballing night of our life in Tarragona. So for me, he's a legend. Yeah, I'm very much resigned to the fact that he's gone. I had the hope and wishes, but if he was staying, or there even an inkling that he was staying, he would have been starting some football. I think that's about 8 or 9 games now that he hasn't started for us. He's a young boy, so it's not to do with fitness, you wouldn't have thought. I don't know. I hope he doesn't go in January. But then if we're getting money for a player what's meant to be going on a free transfer, who's sitting on the bench for us, we take it. I just think it's going to be a bit of a hectic January regarding Antonito.
Yeah, I think we've said it before, but sort of Nick brought it up on the review podcast, which if you've not listened to, by the way, we reviewed our 1-1 draw with Almeria this past weekend, so go and check that out. We talked about the Tarragona detective case, but that's for that podcast, so go back and listen. But anyway, Nick brought up on that podcast that probably the best scenario for us really is Antonito being sold for a nice little, you know, wedge of cash and coming back here on loan. That seems that would be the dream scenario really. And Malaga don't tend to get the dream scenarios, I find, but we'll see. I can't take credit for this. You are the person that have compiled this list of players out of contract in the summer. So I'll read it through and then I'll leave it up to you where you want to start or any people you think we really need to talk about. So you are telling me that this summer, the players whose contract expire are Victor Garcia, Einar, Dani Sanchez, Joaquin, Manu Molina, Lucas Sangali, Kevin Medina, Sergio Castel, and Dione. Where do you want to start with that list? Because I don't think we're going to have time to go through all of them. But
I'll start with the little bit of news what I'm reading. They are very much in talks with Einar and Manu Molina to extend their contracts, which I'll be very happy about. Out of there, I've picked 5 players. They're 2 of them, which I think are vital.
Okay. Don't carry on, then stop. Let me see if I can guess the other 5. So
you'll guess them. You'll guess them.
Yeah, I guess they. Now I'm looking at the list. So obviously, I'm guessing you're going to say Kevin. I'm hoping you're going to say Kevin.
Yes.
Joaquin.
Yes.
And I'm guessing the other one is perhaps not as obvious, but I'm guessing you're going Victor Garcia.
Yes.
Okay.
Victor on his day is a steady left back, whether we need him as a first choice or not. But I mean, there's 2, like you mentioned there, Matt, that's Victor and Danny Sanchez. You don't really want to lose both your left backs and have to sign 2 new left backs. Joaquim Gabilondo, still young enough. I think Joaquim's a very good defender, and him and Puga, they have an understanding that it's going to be a rotation for the season. Kevin Medina, I don't know if you've brought us all onto the Kevin train with yourself, but Kevin emphasizes Malaga, I always think. If it wasn't for Kevin in the starting lineup and stuff, a lot of time, there's not much too exciting about our team. We're just a decent unit.
Yeah, interesting. Just on Kevin, because I think Malaga I run a story this week about sort of that the contract talks are not close at all. And then I know some parts of the media have come out and said that was perhaps exaggerated. But the interesting line, I think it was Malaga I said that the thing that seems to be clashing with the talks is the club don't see him, and I sort of see this a little bit, as he's not the sort of absolute marquee player of Liga that they want him to be, but he sort of sees himself as that sort of what I don't think not in an arrogant way, but and I think that's where there's a bit of a clash where they value him less than, and obviously I think that's true of pretty much every football player and their contract talks, isn't it? But I think, I don't know. Obviously, I want him to sign, of course. I'm not saying.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I saw the
reading between the lines. I think Kevin's asking for a lot more money than.
Yes. So I saw the exact same interview what you said, and they used the words marquee and so on. And you think, well, if you look around the stands, obviously the thing in Malaga seems to be you get a name and a number on the back of your shirt. Kevin Medina sells a hell of a lot of shirts. So when they're using the words marquee, and then you're thinking as well, I'm seeing a bit of a different Kevin this season, an improved Kevin, a better Kevin. So you're thinking, right, so that's not what it means, marquee. Therefore, like you've just said, Matt, you're looking at money. And you're thinking if Kevin's demands are too high, because if on the same interview, what they're saying is Kevin's basically pleading with Malaga, saying, this is my home, this is where I want to be, I want to stay. And then it seems Malaga's very much like, I'm not too sure. Yeah. But for me, you take Kevin out of our squad.
Yeah, definitely.
We see the videos. You need that kind of player in the dressing room for a start. I think it'll be a real shame for Kevin to go. I mean, a big club like Granada in the summer coming in for him. It's not like you'd hate to see Kevin at least go on a free transfer. You won't want it to end like that, I guess.
Yeah, because obviously, I think the other thing is that Granada are obviously offering a nicer pay package than us, and it's all there neatly wrapped and almost ready, I think, by the sound of things. But like you said, I think I said on the podcast on Tuesday that he has played away from Malaga. I know you obviously went to Portugal. I think he played I think he might have played in Sevilla for a bit, or Betis, or certainly might have gone up there and didn't really came back very quickly. So he's very much a homeboy.
It's like it. I just think I don't want any scary moments in this January, i.e. the players' contracts running down. I don't know if Granada came back in for Kevin offering 300 grand. Yeah, would Malaga be like, well, it's money? I don't want to see any of that.
Yeah, he's probably, obviously, Antonito we've covered, but I think Kevin's the only one that has that absolute red alert for me. Like the others, I'd be sad to Manu is absolutely key, but he's getting on a bit, and the others I'd be gutted about. You know, the 5 we mentioned, like Luca Sangali, it just doesn't seem to be happening for him.
I know you guys have liked Sangal. I liked the thought of the signing when he came. I mean, the other guys, Danny Sanchez, fantastic last season for what he did. He was the first one bouncing to Una Hitana Loca. Fantastic. Did well in his games. Now it seems a bit of a standard too high. Sangale, as mentioned just then, not really a fan. And also, he's not really played many minutes throughout his whole Malaga time.
I can imagine he's frustrated as well. And probably,
exactly.
They'd mutually agree to let him go. There's a player there, right? But it's just not happening.
Yeah, Sergio Castel. I'll be honest, I've got 0 time for him. I think I don't rate him whatsoever. Dione is a bit of a romantic one because even on Saturday in the ground, Sunday, whenever the game, I can't remember. Sunday, sorry. Even that day, I was so critical of Dione. I don't rate him, but there's a romance about Dione with Malaga. I don't know why it is.
Yeah,
he's not good. He's not good enough. But the day when it comes that Dione's leaving, am I going to be happy? Not really.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I think yes, but I did have just Danny Sanchez. I think the last game he played, he was quite good, wasn't he? I seem to remember. But otherwise, can't remember who
it was. A tough game. I can't remember who it was against, but a tough game away somewhere. I think it was.
Yeah, just quickly before we rock on over to the Burgos preview, I've got to mention, and thank God this guy isn't on the list of contracts expiring, but Alfonso Herrero, I think today, has done an interview with El Desmarque. They seem to start by talking about him winning Player of the Month, and they asked him about that. I've got to be honest with you, he didn't really say anything too shocking in it, but I'll just read out some couple of headlines. They did ask him, like, about, you've had this amazing season with Malaga. Do you want to continue making history here? And he did reply, yes, absolutely. Right now, my head is 100% here. My family, my roots right now are here. I am from Toledo. Obviously, due to my circumstances, I rarely go home. I'm guessing his family, come to visit me more than I go to visit them. And I tell you, my roots are here. My dreams are here. And all my projects right now are in Malaga. Oh.
Music to the ears.
Yeah. And then just a couple of other things. They talked about, obviously, his time at Real Madrid, like youth team. And he said, like, he discouraged Izan Moreno from going there because he said, like, he'd have more opportunities in Malaga. The highlight from that section, though, comes from, they asked him about the players he played with. And he talked about that he did join first team training a few times. So this is like the Real Madrid of, my beloved Gareth, Sergio Ramos. He did say the best player in training was Benzema, but the highlight was apparently in a post-training penalty shootout, he did save a Cristiano Ronaldo penalty, pissed him off so much that Ronaldo smashed another one into the goal and then just sort of shook his hand and walked off. And Alfonso said, no, he was polite. It was just, he dropped it in there. And quickly, the other thing I didn't know about him, because obviously I knew he played for Marbella, shout out to Marbella, but his daughter was born in Marbella. So he does have a link to part of the year. And the final thing, they did ask him at the end, has this been the best year of your life? Now, I don't know if it got lost in translation, if life or career, but it did, I'm pretty sure it said vida. And he said, yes, I would say yes. Football is our passion and our job and everything. I've experienced since I've been, everything I've experienced since I've been here has been beautiful. What a man.
And it sounds like a beautiful interview.
Yes.
But you got to think, I bet there isn't many players in our squad from last season who would go against last season. It was just fun, wasn't it? Fun throughout with an amazing ending. I mean, players like Herrero, they've been journeymen. They've been to a lot of clubs. Maybe not really found home, and then not your latter years of your career. I mean, what is he, 30, 31?
Yeah.
But then to find home where you've gone from being a second choice at Mirandes, I think it was, to being, as we call him, the absolute Don.
Yeah.
I mean, the Malaga fans don't often sing about players, do they?
Yeah.
And the other day, it must have been 3 or 4 times, Alfonso, and
pretty much when the team was lining up, the whole like Fondo Sur and our end of the ground was singing Alfonso, and he was at the other end of the pitch.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, like you said, I think he talks in the interview about like I think he quite liked it at Oviedo, but got a bit frustrated when they signed what's his name, Lunin, the Real Madrid youngster, and that's what made him like, you know, for those that don't know, Marbella do have a bit of an ambitious project down here, so he was quite interested in that, but then sort of left and went up the league. So we're just happy he's here, and if he's got a connection to the Costa del Sol, even better.
We're lucky to have him. We've at least got him for another season and a half contract base.
Yeah, I'm even like the way he talks, and you know, football fans, you know, I don't care who you are. Well, I think most football fans are quite romantic, and you do sort of go, no, he really means it. He's never going to leave. And I know not that absurd. If an offer came in, we might listen, but thank God, there must be there must be people having a look at him. It must be great. Yeah. Not. Anyway,
he's a serious talent.
Yes, you know, we could talk about Alfonso Herrero and this Malaga lineup all evening, I'm sure. But we are going to preview the Burgos game. And of course, as always, to help us preview that game, we're going to first go over to Alex Fitzpatrick of the Spanish Segunda Show to give us the lowdown on this weekend's Oppo.
Malaga take on Burgos this weekend in El Plantío. That's away from home, of course. And that is where Burgos' strength is. 66%. 14 of their 21 points have come at home, which will come as no surprise. That's the norm for most teams, really, to be stronger at home. But there is one hell of an atmosphere in El Plantío when they get behind their team. They are managed by Ramis, who was previously Espanyol last season, and Tenerife prior to that coach, and that's because they sacked John Bolo after a really unsuccessful start. Michu, yes, I thought I'd throw him in there just to keep Matt happy. Michu is their sporting director and even took over for a cup game after the sacking of John Bolo earlier on this season. The appointment of Ramis hasn't really gone totally to plan, though. In the 7 games they've played so far, they've lost 5 of them and won 2, both of those victories coming at home. And included in that little lot was a Copa del Rey defeat, as well to a lower division side from down your neck of the woods as well. So it's not really been plain sailing for Burgos, but last weekend they did get a stoppage time, 96th minute winner to win that game 1-0 and sort of get them moving in the right direction, because at the moment they're only 3 points above the drop zone, just 2 points behind Malaga. Under Ramis, they've been playing sometimes a 4-4-2 or a 4-2-3-1. Curos Sanchez is the star man for them. He takes the set pieces. He's got a lot of quality on the ball. But outside of that, really, they're a threadbare squad. So come towards the end of the game and the last 30 minutes, when normally those 3, 4, 5 substitutions in the game are made, and there is a chance there for Malaga potentially to take all 3 points. Definitely an opportunity for an away win for Malaga. Here, that's Burgos hosting Malaga this weekend.
And as always, thank you to Alex Fitzpatrick. And if you don't listen to the Spanish Segunda Show, please go and listen to it, where you get the lowdown on all the teams in La Liga Hypermotion. So, of course, Luke, this is, I don't know, you could say it's a fairly big game for Malaga. So let's get to the key talking points. What are your views on Michu?
Well, I've spoken about off air. Michu, fantastic player.
I think for anyone listening and thinking, oh, Matt's not talking about Michu, I've realized what Luke's done. He's Michu'd me out before we press record and talked to me about Michu for 10 minutes and gone, right, he'll shut up now.
Well, on the agenda, we never actually had a specific Michu area, as Matt wasn't meant to be here tonight. But thankfully, being the great host that he is, appeared, and the first thing he tweets out and we speak about is Michu. So, Matt, I guess you can take the board as to what Michu does at Burgos.
Well, I can tell you he's busy. And I just asked you, I said, I can't remember if I ever told this story on the podcast. I feel like I've told you in a bar in Malaga. If I have told you on the podcast before, please forgive me. But, new listeners, we do get them. Maybe they haven't heard it. And it does involve Burgos as well. So for those that don't know, I did do El Camino de Santiago. I did it twice, actually. It's a long story. But I did the one from France 3 summers ago. And it does involve going through the beautiful city of Burgos, by the way. I'm gutted I can't go this weekend because it's on a Sunday. I was well up for going back there and going to El Plantillo because it looks a great ground. And I think, as Alex said in his preview, it looks like it's got a great atmosphere. But basically, we're in some small little village about 25 kilometers from Burgos the night before. When you do El Camino de Santiago, maybe when I do El Camino de Santiago, it is essentially a long bar crawl. And I woke up in the morning, sort of getting ready to do the walk in 25 kilometers to Burgos, looked at my phone. I had a DM from Michu. And I was like, huh? And then he said, I'll see what I can do, mate. I'm quite busy tomorrow. And I was like, what the So I checked my phone, and I'd been with my mate who's a Leeds fan, and I was telling him, like, Burgos, Michu, love Michu, etc. And I think I'd jokingly gone on Michu's Instagram because, of course, I follow him, and I go, "Hey, mate, hope you're good," something like that. Burgos tomorrow, like brackets doing the Camino. Fancy a pint? It's on me, or something like that. It was quite a jokey tone. And I think I was doing it to do a joke to my Leeds mate and go, "Oh, look what I said, Michu." Replied. So I was like, oh my God. So replied back. I said, "Don't worry. If you're about, I'll meet you." He replies, "What time you get in here?" I was like, what?
Fucking run.
And I said, like, about, oh no, that day, that wasn't 25 kilometers. That was the day I walked about 45 kilometers in like the searing heat, and I had to walk around Burgos airport. And I didn't even know Burgos had an airport, and it was absolutely brutal, son. So I think I thought I might have been having like a fever dream or something. I said I'll be there about 5 o'clock, and he was like, "I'll see what I can do." And obviously this is in the summer, so directing football transfers and stuff. And about 10 p.m. when I've probably had sunstroke and I had some drinks to catch up. Check my phone again. He's like, "I'm really sorry, mate. Like, I couldn't make it today. Are you here tomorrow?" And I was like, I'm leaving. Oh, no. Are you here the day after? Because I was staying there 2 nights. And I was like, "No." And I said, he said, "I'm really sorry about that, mate." And I thought, what a lovely man.
Yeah.
So he's a great Swansea legend and a great footballer. But I'll try and move on. So there's the Michu box ticked.
No, that's interesting, that, Matt. So basically, your booty called Michu before you got to Burgos. And then on your iPod, you listen to "I Would Walk 500 Miles."
Yeah.
We'll meet you.
Yeah, it's and also that night, because it was the first big city since Pamplona, I'd met a lot of people on the route in little villages, and of course, I introduced them all to Pacharan, and I met up with a load of them in Burgos, and I said, "Let's all have Pacharan together." What a happy time.
Was that the Americans, Matt? I think I remember.
They were the famous ones where, like, about 500 kilometers in, some guy said to me, "Have you ever tried Pacharan?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "I met these 2 girls from North Carolina, and on the first day of the Camino, I'd introduced 2 girls from North Carolina to Pacharan." Anyway, let's talk about this game of football. But yeah, if you are going to this game as a Malaga fan, I can tell you, beautiful city, beautiful food, good wine, great cathedral, one of Spain's great cathedrals. But anyway,
hell of a trip again, isn't it, Matt? What is it? Bang in middle between Madrid and Santander, roughly.
To be honest with you, when I looked at the map a couple of weeks ago, because I was thinking of going, I didn't realize quite how north it was. In my head, it was sort of little bit sort of on level in Madrid. So yeah, it is a trek.
I typed in earlier just trying to get a bit of details. It's got just over 500 kilometers, 8-hour bus journey, which I know to the Malaga veterans like yourself, an 8-hour journey, I suppose, is quite normal.
Yeah, we should, and we don't have much luck with these guys either. How many points have we taken off Burgos since they got promoted I think it was 3 or 4 years ago now. So we've only played them 4 times. In those 4 games, how many points do you think we've taken off them?
With you saying that, I'm going to go with 1.
Correct. We drew.
Really?
Last time we played them was at La Rosaleda, 1-1 draw in January of the relegation year. Pepe Mel still manager. Largo Jr. with a lovely sort of volley into the box.
I was actually at this game, Matt, and that is the first. If it's on my list, yeah, that's the first Malaga goal I'd actually seen in La Rosaleda for about 2.5 years. That was the stage what really kicked off the Malaga trips constantly.
Yeah,
but like we spoke about off air, Matt, I don't know if anybody can remember, and I'm positive it was last season, where Burgos basically went the first 11 or 12 games without conceding a goal, broke every defensive record going.
Well, I think I said I wasn't sure, but I think it was the year before, because I was going to ask you, do you remember the last time we played at El Plantillo?
And I got 2 games mixed up. I had a 3-2 in my head and Andres Caro playing, but you said that wasn't, and we obviously got beat.
The last time we played there was the first game of our relegation season. And it's a game of 2 goalies, really, which I think this might have beat Canio in goals. But he makes a couple of good saves, whoever's in goals. I'm pretty sure it was him, though. But at the other end of the pitch, a name I'd sort of erased from my mind, a looping ball over our goalie, Manolo Reina, who is completely lost, and they headed it back across goal. Do you want to hear the Malaga team from our last trip to El Plantillo? Maybe get like a blanket to cower behind.
I know we played in the pink kit. That's all I remember. We played in the pink kit.
And to be honest with you, I may have made a mistake here, because I think I've got the game the last time we played them. Sorry, not the time we played them at Burgos, but no, because we had we did have Febas in the relegation year all the season.
Yeah, Febas was the golden player.
Anyway, so up front, Fran Sol and Ruben Castro. Okay, that's nothing.
Take that.
Midfield, it starts okay. Febas, Escassi, then alongside Josebed. And then we've got Pablo Guedes' dreaded 5 at the back, or 6 at the back. Javi Jimenez, Jonas Romolo, player I'd forgotten about, Esteban Burgos. Another player I'd forgotten about so much more, I can't remember his first name. I'm going to guess Unai Bustinza.
Yeah, of course.
And then here's the horror bit, Juan Fran and Manolo Reina.
The worst crosser known to football.
God, yeah, that was horrible.
Well, that team, what you just mentioned there, and did you say that was the first game of the season?
Yeah.
This team were a very fresh team in terms of signings, and we actually, the names, like you just mentioned there, was actually, we were signing these players and thinking, good player. I mean, even Bustinza, I think he like Leganés as captain for a bit.
Something like that, yeah.
You take Ruben Castro, Fransol up front. Jose Bad. Nobody ever wants to see Jose Bad back anywhere. Is he even playing still? Do we know?
Yes, I did look him up not so long ago, but I can't remember. I feel like he's up north in the 3rd division, but I might be wrong. Don't hold me to that. Or I got mixed up with someone else. I saw Jairo Sampero's name somewhere the other day, and I forgot where that was now. But yeah, one other thing on Alex's preview I want to bring up. Did you know Alex Fitzpatrick is allergic to the word Marbella? He couldn't say it.
When he used the word down your neck of the woods, then?
Just down your neck of the woods. It's like Voldemort to him, that city that cannot be named. But yes, what he was talking about there, before we perhaps talk about Burgos a bit more, is that they were knocked out of the Copa del Rey by Marbella, which does link into some Malaga news, which came out just before we pressed record. Because Luke Chambers, who are Marbella playing in the Copa del Rey, and where are they playing?
So it got confirmed today or yesterday that Marbella have pulled themselves an absolute worldly tie, and they are going to play Atletico Madrid in La Rosaleda on the 4th of January, I believe.
It's that week, yeah. I think it is
9:30 kickoff.
So that
which is going to be quite interesting, because obviously we know Malaga the best, I suppose, Matt. We know that there's a big Real Madrid fan base in Malaga. is there a decent Atleti? Do we know?
Well, I can only really talk about it. I don't meet that many Atleti fans. The deputy head teacher of my school is a big Atleti fan. And you see like a few kids' pencil cases in school with Atleti stuff on there, but not a lot, to be honest with you. It is very much Barcelona, Real Madrid, more so Real Madrid. So, yeah, I don't know what sort of crowd that's going to get. Like, if it's manageable and it's not ridiculously priced, I'm going to probably try and go and see Anton Griezmann play, hopefully. And
that's it. I think pricing's key, because the Marbella is not going to have bundles of fans. They'll probably bring a couple of thousand. Atleti maybe again a couple of thousand. And for a game like that, you don't want an empty La Rosaleda.
No. But I think Alex touched upon there about, Burgos are quite good at home. Interesting fact I noticed about Burgos and their form is they've got the joint second least draws in the league. They've only drawn 3 times, and they're coming up. They're coming up against the masters of draws. Malaga with 11, which is we're the only team with double figures of draws in the league. There's a couple on 9, I think. But
I always like it when Alex Fitzpatrick finishes with potential Malaga victory. It always just brings a bit of a raised smile to your face. But I know he mentioned about Burgos has got good home form, but that home form, I don't know if you noticed, Matt, but that home form came at the beginning of the season, and now the last 2 games they've won at home, but they've only actually won 2 out of the last 11 games. They hit a real purple patch after a very good start. Yeah. But I think over the last 3 seasons, Burgos seemed to start very well and then really tail off. They beat Eldense 1-0 at home this week. Like Alex said, a real late goal. It's going to be hard. Any game on the road's a hard game. But yeah, looking at the league table, there's no reason why Malaga can't be confident going to Burgos.
I really, I think obviously Nick couldn't join us in the end, but I think Nick said he likes Burgos and likes talking about them, and I like them too. I was quite surprised in a way. They've been in this league 4 years now, because it was sort of a surprise they came up, and I don't think, off the top of my head, I think they'd only been in like Segunda maybe once or twice in the past 20 years or so. I'm sure you remember.
You've got this perfect here, Matt. I've on my notes. I've written my notes. Where are we? It took 20 seasons for Burgos to get back to Segunda after their maiden season. In what year?
Well, I'm gonna guess the early 2000s. Then, if you said 20 years, 2001,
2002. And to be fair, since they've been back in the last 4 seasons, they're very stable in this league. 9th, 10th, 11th, just all around that kind of area.
Yeah, they've always just, I always associate them with just, it's going to be a bit of a slog, this. That's how it always feels against Malaga. I should even say, I think the first time we played them after they got promoted, or it's either the first or second time, they beat us 3-0 at El Plantillo. And just like, I remember we were just all over the place. We are the Geary cast, so I think you were going to perhaps mention a couple of players here, but just before you do, obviously we might have fans of other clubs. I'm sure you might have made a note of some of these, but there's 2 linked to English clubs. I don't know if you clocked these or not.
Yeah, well, I know for definite you're going to say Pippa,
which so I thought because your niece is called Pippa.
Exactly. So for anybody who is a fan of West Bromwich Albion or Huddersfield, you remember Pippa, the right back, marauding right back, I think, very energetic and so on. He's because
he's still on loan from Ludogorets.
Yeah. I remember watching him with Huddersfield 2 years back. I think he looked a good player. The other one, this is
just quickly. He did go from Huddersfield to Olympiacos, so I suggest he did all right. Go on, tell the other one.
Well, this one's a bit of a gamble in terms of where you're saying Geary team. We're not talking about Loic Badiashile, the goalkeeper. No. So the only reason I said that is Badiashile is obviously a very common name. He is actually the older brother of Benoit Badiashile, I think it is, who plays centre half for Chelsea. In terms of, I have another player, Matt, but in terms of Geary, I'll let you take this one then.
Well, I don't think it doesn't feel very Geary at all, but there's a lot of Gearys that support Liverpool And I don't know if he's played much for Burgos. I just noticed he's there. That Anderson Arroyo, who's a Brazilian, but he was at Liverpool for 6 years, and he's only just signed this season for Burgos, but he was on loan there last year. But he spent the last 6 years bouncing around all sorts of clubs in Spain. I think he's in the Czech Republic at Malaga Boleslav, one of the least exotic Czech clubs. But yeah, so for anyone that's fans of Liverpool, Huddersfield, or West Brom,
this one's for you.
Yeah, I'm sure you remember Anderson Arroyo at Liverpool with great.
The only other player I have, Matt, is Lisandro Lopez, not the centre forward. So Lisandro Lopez, I'm a Football Manager player in the past, but he was a product of the usual Portuguese system, the Benfica, Porto, Sporting signing players from South America. He's a South America. He's an Argentinian centre half, and he was signed with a hell of a lot of potential. However, that potential didn't really cook in. He had 4 loan spells with Getafe, Inter Milan. Who's the other two more? Genoa, and back to Boca Juniors before being sold to Tijuana. So, yes, he's aging. He's definitely aging, but he's going to be a decent centre half in this division still. He's been starting every game. So he, for me, is probably going to be the leader in that back line.
Nice. Okay, let's maybe, before we start wrapping things up, we've got to talk about Malaga, of course. I think we all agreed, obviously me and Nick did the podcast this week, but I know we spoke to you after the game and we pat your hand after the game and we pinted in Morrissey's after the game. So we'll get your sober view now. We sort of agreed, I think, that we played very well against Almeria. I don't think there was any shocks in the starting 11. I said on the podcast the other day, I think it's pretty much very close, if not bang on, our best 11. So is there anything you change for this game against Burgos, Luke?
Not really. Obviously, Almeria was my first sober game of the season. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Remember a lot of chats. But the one forced change that we've got, we'll have to double check this, but I'm positive I saw something, is that we haven't got Manu Molina available for this one. He's suspended, picked up his 5th yellow card of the season. So regarding that, if fit, Ramon would be the perfect replacement. However, after not seeing him at all for Almeria, I believe he's not going to be fully fit for this. But other than that, I'd like to see Aaron Maloney in the team.
I've written that down as maybe, not that I think Lobete was awful, but just to change things. I'd rather see Antonito come in to that behind the 3, but I understand that's not going to happen. Just quick, I've got some great stats tonight. Manu Molina is one of them. Do you know he has made the 4th most fouls in the league, which sort of doesn't surprise me that much, but my favorite one, do you know he has the 2nd most touches in the league of the ball?
I can believe that, because for probably the first live game this season I've been at, he looked like he enjoyed himself against Almeria. He was doing the trademark switch a couple of times, but it's strange. Manu Molina's been strange for Malaga, because for the first 6 months I really wasn't a fan. I know Nick fell in love with him straight away, and take my hat off to it. A great signing. But over the last year, he's one of the first names on the team sheet, especially this season. I think this season, moving to Segunda has really brought him on as a player. It has done a few, but Manu Molina really tops, like you say, Matt, nearly every stat.
I would actually probably say Herrera's just carried on, isn't he? And to an extent, Molina has. But yeah, I would say he's a bit more of an all-rounder now, I would say.
Yeah.
And actually, there's probably an argument. I'm trying to think who it actually is. I think it might be that he's probably our 2nd captain, really, isn't he? Like, I'm guessing, I can't even think who is our 2nd captain. I know like Ramon is sort of captain. I guess it's probably Monte is his 2nd captain. But
I'd probably say...
But I would give it to
Monte, Einar, or Manu. But again, very much like Kevin, as we spoke about earlier, Manu Molina is on all the changing room videos and all this sort. And I know to a lot of people that'll just look like playing about, but that's massive in a changing room. The camaraderie and all that. It's what makes a team. Yeah. Like you said then, Matt, you'd like to see Antonito, and we could speak every week about somebody else playing up front other than the three mentioned, but we're not going to see it, are we?
No, we're not. Yeah, and I think I think I've said it a few times now. I just want us to get the ball in the box a little bit quicker, but I don't know if that's because we don't have the striker. So I don't know.
Well, again, Matt, against Almeria, I know you guys spoke about it the other day, but the amount of times we got the ball out wide and Dion, whether it's Dione or even whoever, Laru, I know Larubi is not normally a box player, but the amount of times we had nobody in the box when we had perfect crossing positions, and I don't know, just again, we mentioned it so many times, Roberto, who's there. Yeah, it must fill a winger with so much confidence putting the ball in the box.
It's sort of frustrating in a way as well, because obviously we've got Kevin who sort of cuts in from the left and Larubia from the right, and they've both got like sort of really good shots on them, but they always almost score. It's like I can see like the ball curving towards the top corner and everyone going, ooh.
Yeah.
But this is a great stat. I definitely want to double check this. While I've mentioned David Larubia, the top 10 take-ons in the league, there is 2 Malaga players in there. David Larubia is one. Can you name the other? And this is whoa.
So with you saying this, it's not going to be Kevin. I think it's going to be a bit more. I'm going to go with Puga. Couldn't have played enough games. Victor.
The 9th highest take-ons in the league is Carlos Puga.
Oh my God. I'm on fire tonight. Mind you, I suppose I didn't give it as the answer. I went away from Puga, but
I mean, Puga's
such a good player. Puga really is a great player.
Well, I think most of those must have been that game against Castellon, where he was just playing as he wasn't playing as a right winger. He was just playing the right winger.
Via SofaScores app, the footballing app.
Sorry, before I move away from that, and I won't make you guess this one, and again, this sounds mad to me. This is, by the way, this is FBREF. I've got these stats from. So, if anyone wants to message in and say, don't trust them, but apparently the 9th and 10th most tackles won in the league are also David Larubia and Carlos Puga.
Okay, I can believe that. More of a simple one, I guess. Who is the highest average player in Segunda currently?
As in, like, rating?
Yeah.
Okay. Luis Suarez?
No, he's our guy. He's Malaga.
Sorry. Alfonso Herrera.
Yes, he's according to them. I don't know how they work it all out, but apparently he's 0.3 better than any other player in the league.
Well, he's the player of the month, so
yeah,
it makes sense.
He you guys mentioned on the review show. I said it the other day. Every team of the week, Segunda Port, whether Malaga win, lose, or draw, there's only one goalkeeper in there, and he's in there for a reason.
Okay, well, we're gonna finish up here, Luke. I'm gonna throw your question back at you because, like you said, I was not penciled in for this podcast, so it's your sort of script here. You've got written down. Finally, mention the league position. Are we on track for our initial goals set at the beginning of the season? So I'm going to turn it on you first. Are we on track for where we should be, do you think?
Yes, definitely. We've only lost 3 games. It's the middle of December, mid-table, great defensive record. There is negatives, but for me, the positives definitely outweigh the negatives. The one big negative, which we all know about, is our ability to put the ball in a net, and that's a huge negative. I hope we can rectify this very soon, whether that's signing somebody in January or giving a certain Malagueño striker a go finally. But I'll be honest, it can be better. Performance-wise, I don't think we've been amazing. But I thought we'd be right in there at the moment. And I know we're not a million mile away, but I wasn't feeling too confident. And I thought we may be where Cordoba is, like a point above relegation. Really, there's been so many games this season where it has been so tight and we've gave away a silly goal. And we could easily be 7-8 points up that league. Almeria, perfect example.
Yeah, I have to go back and listen to the recording, but I think when you got the first podcast I did of the season and I gave my predictions, off the top of my head, I think I did say 14th. So at the moment, we're a par for me.
I think I had 17th. Nick with the highest with 10th.
But to be honest with you, like having watched this year, and I know we've said a few times on this podcast, like, you know, we joke like how much fun last year was, but the football this season has been I really enjoyed it this year, like the games, because the first few years I was here, like I used to think the Spanish Segunda was a bit dross, but now I'm starting to realize, well, it was just because Malaga were dross. And to be honest with you, like the reason the games are entertaining is because we're good. Yeah. And I just feel like when I was looking at the league table and sort of thinking, you know, you can't go, oh, if Antonito had scored that last minute penalty, we'd had this, and oh, if this had happened, and oh, if this had happened. But I sort of feel I think we're personally playing 3 points higher than we should be. I feel about 3 points would level out, because I think I know, like for example, our XG is like mad low. We're actually quite efficient. We are taking the chances. The ones we do make, we're taking, because we obviously don't have many. But like I think we're playing really good.
And we are. Yeah. As we mentioned, it's not perfect. We know it's not perfect. We're not trying to say that, but it's the teams that we've played against and got good results against. I mean, Cadiz, Granada away, Almeria at home. 3.
Yeah, but I think. Sorry. I was just going to say, like, I think we had Liam on from the Spanish Segunda show a few weeks ago for the Zaragoza game, and of course he's going to know much more about the league as a whole as us. But he said ahead of like those games, like the last few games, that it would tell us like where Malaga really are. And of course, we've not won any of those games, or you know, none of those games. But I think these have been the more difficult games, and the games we need to win, we've sort of generally won. I know it's not a lot of wins, but yeah, I think I said this week, I think we'll be fine.
Well, we obviously flew over for the game, and I said to the lads at work and friends, I'm not expecting a result. I said, Almeria are a very good team. We don't just come over for the result, we come over for the day, etc., etc. And I think it was 10-15 minutes into the game, I was sat with Nick, Carl, Joe, and put in our group chat, and Jacko replied, and I put, these are fucking good, because they look so dangerous going forward. However, pretty much as soon as I sent that text, Malaga basically took over for the next 70 minutes. The Almeria didn't really threaten us.
Yeah, well, I think when I've been thinking about how we played this year, I think the thing I've been impressed with a lot, and like you said, it's not perfect at all. There's always going to be flaws, because we're a team that's just been promoted, and we have financial issues. But I think Pellicer has got us playing. We seem to switch quite well between keeping the ball, and then, you know, we're not a possession team, and then we'll try and play counter-attacking. Yeah. And I think we do try to play a few different styles in a game, which I think is good. Which to me, I think I mentioned, I can't remember if it was on the podcast or maybe just the other day, where I read an article about, you know, can't believe I'm going to make this comparison, but Arne Slot's Liverpool, they're very good at playing lots of different styles of football in one game. And I was like, yeah, that's sort of like Malaga this year, in a sort of more ramshackle way.
Yeah, I think if you remember last season, we were, I know many people don't think that we're critical of Malaga, but we very much are. And last season, one of the biggest problems was, we said Sergio didn't seem to have a plan B. It was if we played a certain way, and if that wasn't working, we'd just make the same subs. But this year, I do think we're adding a hell of a lot more to our game. For me, the only, I know you and Nick spoke about Almeria, obviously. The one thing will let us down the other day is the boys were they were knackered.
Yeah.
The Lebete run what he did and then couldn't really get his shot. Even Victor's touch, yes, it's an error, but I just believe that they put so much into the game. And this is a game last season, even when we were top of league, whatever, we would have got hammered against Almeria last season. And I don't just mean that in terms of league differences. I just think we've come on so much in terms of maturity in a game, the way that they play. Like you said, Matt, the times where you need to attack and times where you just think, oh, whoa, let's just slow this down a little bit.
I could probably, I can't do it off the top of my head, but if I went through my, what's this, year 6 as a season ticket holder, of course, there was a COVID year there, I could probably count on my finger how many like times we've played against a bigger club than us or a better team than us. And I was like, well, we're going to lose. It's like, oh yeah, we lost. Whereas now I don't feel like that. I feel like we can go toe to toe.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Anyway, and hopefully we can go toe to toe with Michu's. Get another Michu in there for you because I know you're all counting.
Hopefully one day, Matt, you can go toe to toe with Michu.
Well, yeah.
Hopefully. In a bar.
Yeah. I'll send him an Instagram next time I'm walking the wilderness. But yes, hopefully we can go toe to toe with Michu's Burgos. So yeah, looking forward to watching that game Sunday. I will say thank you, Luke Chambers.
Thank you very much, mate. Just one tiny thing. On this day, you must have been on socials today. 22 years ago, Malaga played a famous game. They got a famous victory. Who was that against?
I'm doing the maths. 22 years. I'm going to say Leeds.
Leeds United at Ellen Road. Who was the player who got the double for Malaga that night?
I don't know this. I feel like it's a defender, but I can't. Go on.
Centre forward.
No, go on.
Deli Valdez.
Oh, I was just about to say him. That was the obvious one.
Deli Valdez.
Yeah.
And without pissing any Leeds fans off, I will leave you on that. Vamos Malaga. Thank you very much.
There you go. And also, if you're a Leeds fan, please tell your friends to subscribe, etc. Or if you're a Liverpool fan that loves Anderson, Arroyo, or a Huddersfield fan that likes Peeper, and you've listened to this, or if you're just a Michu fan, listen to this. Thank you. Tell your friends to subscribe. If you're a regular, please, tell your friends to subscribe and follow us and do all those things podcasts ask you to do. We will see you soon. Adios. Vamos, Malaga.